The Collected Teachings of Luang Porchaya, from the April 1, 2001 talk, Intro to the 7 Purifications and the Insight Knowledges. Today I'm going to talk a bit about the 7 Purifications and the Insight Knowledges. To be able to gain enlightenment, we must go through 7 stages of purification and insight knowledges, step by step. First of all, the purification of virtue is required. This consists of 4 kinds of perfect discipline. 1. Keeping precepts. 2. Sense faculty restraint. 3. Purity of livelihood. And 4. Discipline regarding the 4 requisites. Regarding keeping precepts, for general people, keeping the precepts purely and firmly is very important. These precepts include refraining from killing, from stealing, from sexual misconduct, from telling lies, and from using intoxicating liquors and drugs. These are the 5 precepts. These 5 precepts are said to be a universal law. Anyone who is well disciplined in morality will have no harm come to them in this present life, and they will be reborn in a happy existence in a future life. When meditators in particular observe these 5 precepts purely and perfectly, they will not feel guilty about their behaviors. When moral conduct is purified, the mind is also purified to some extent, and it becomes steady. You can easily attain deep concentration of mind, which in turn gives rise to wisdom. There are 8 precepts to be observed by lay people in daily life. These include refraining from killing, from stealing, from sexual misconduct, from lying, from slandering, from harsh speech, from vain talk, and from wrong livelihood. We should observe these 8 too. The first 4 are similar to the 5 precepts, right? The next 4, slandering, harsh speech, vain talk, and wrong livelihood, differ. In a meditation retreat, it is advisable to observe the holy 8 precepts. We do this for the purpose of having more time to practice meditation, reduce sensual desire, and so on. We call these the holy 8 precepts. These 8 precepts include refraining from killing, from stealing, from sexual intercourse, from lying, from using intoxicants, from eating at the wrong time. This means from noon to the next dawn. Refraining from dancing, singing, music, going to shows, wearing garlands. 148 just practice, and beautifying oneself with perfume and cosmetics. And refraining from sleeping or sitting on high or luxurious places. When our devotees come to the temple to practice meditation, we advise them to take these 8 precepts. So we have 2 kinds of 8 precepts. One is for general people, and the other is for devotees who come to practice meditation on a retreat. Regarding sense faculty restraint, after you are perfect in morality, you still need to restrain your 6 senses by means of paying attention to meditation practice and ignoring all sensual objects as well as mental objects. We must also contemplate the 6 sense objects which present themselves to our eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, without allowing craving, anger, and so on to arise. We call this sense faculty restraint. If any kind of mental defilement arises while contemplating, it will be a great obstacle to your concentration. So you need to be aware of whatever object appears to your 6 sense bases. That's why you always need to restrain your sense faculties. This is one kind of fighting. But we're fighting inside, right? Not outside, with someone else. Rather, we are fighting our mental defilements. We don't let them arise. When you're aware of every object, whatever appears, just be aware and contemplate it, and then there's no chance for mental defilement to arise. Next, purity of livelihood is necessary for meditators who want to attain enlightenment in this life. Your vocation must be pure, without violation of any precepts. In other words, you don't kill anyone, steal or cheat, or lie, for example. And also, you must avoid trading in arms, intoxicants, poisons, human beings. In the Buddha's time, this meant slaves, but nowadays it means prostitution. And flesh, or animals for slaughter. We're not supposed to sell these. If your vocation violates any of these precepts or you trade any of these 5 things, you don't have purity of livelihood. A meditator whose livelihood is not pure will feel guilty about oneself whenever he thinks about it. There are no secret places in the world. You can lie to someone else, but you cannot lie to yourself. For this reason, meditators should have a guiltless vocation so that they will be able to easily gain concentration and penetrative insight into the true nature of mind and matter. And regarding discipline with respect to the requisites, a meditator should reflect on using the 4 requisites of clothing, food, lodging, and medicine. Everyone needs these things. For the purpose of 149, the collected teachings of Luang-Por Chaya, removing attachment to them. If you do not reflect on these 4 requisites, attachment will arise. So we should make this reflection for the purpose of removing attachment. Whenever you take a meal, you should reflect, I have my meal. It's not for fun. It's not for pleasure or for purification. It is only for the maintenance and nourishment of this body. By keeping it healthy, I will be able to do my duty and strive for spiritual liberation. When you eat, you should consider why you are eating. Otherwise, you will attach to the food. Whatever clothing you are wearing, you should consider, I wear these clothes, not for beautification of my body, but just for the purpose of warding off cold, heat, wind, burning, the touch of flies, creeping things, and so on, and also for the sake of modesty. When you go somewhere, reflect on the purpose of wearing your clothes. Otherwise, oh, these clothes are very nice, I like them. This is attachment. With respect to your lodging or your house, you should reflect, I live in this building, or this house, this monastery, or this meditation center, for the purpose of removing the danger from weather, for living in security, and to be able to practice meditation without disturbance. Think about this too. Whether you're at home or at the monastery, when you practice meditation, you won't be attached to your building, your house, or your room. Also, some people have to take medicine. For a similar reason, we take juice when we observe the 8 precepts during a meditation retreat. We are allowed to drink some juice in the evening. When we happen to drink some water or juice, we have to reflect on it as medicine. Medicine is not just a pill or a vitamin we take. It also includes honey, sugar, orange juice, and so on. We can drink these things in the evening because we get hungry. It is to cure our hunger. Hunger is one kind of disease, so we should reflect on juice in the evening as medicine. We should reflect, I take this medicine for the purpose of warding off painful feelings or hunger that has arisen, and mainly for freedom from disease. This is the purpose, right? We take medicine to be able to practice meditation comfortably. If you get sick, you cannot practice meditation well. By reflecting on these 4 requisites, attachment will have no room to occur. So, for the purity of virtue, of morality, we need these 4 disciplines. 150 just practice next is purification of mind. We're going step by step. After your morality is purified, you will gain purity of mind, so-called concentration. Purity of mind consists of 2 kinds of concentration. For meditators who practice tranquility meditation, they have to fulfill access or proximate concentration, as well as absorption or attainment concentration. Proximate concentration means gaining concentration in the proximity of mental absorption. In other words, you almost gain jhana. At that stage of concentration, meditators are able to visualize meditational objects by the mind as if seeing them with the eyes. This is proximate concentration. As mental hindrances are subdued to some extent, a meditator is about to gain absorption in the near future if they continue to practice their meditation. When a meditator gains mental absorption, or jhana, the concentration is called absorption, or attainment, concentration. Then, purity of mind is fulfilled. On the other hand, meditators who practice insight vipassana meditation have to start from momentary concentration, which is different. This means that meditators have to focus their mind on their primary object, which may be breathing in and out, or the rising and falling of the abdomen, whenever it occurs in the present moment. And also, meditators have to contemplate the secondary objects which come to appear to the 6 sense bases in the present moment. This type of concentration is called momentary concentration. With tranquility meditation, we need to observe only one object, which is usually a concept. On the contrary, with insight vipassana meditation, we need to observe several physical and mental objects, which are realities. So the two kinds are different, right? When momentary concentration becomes mature, it is similar to the stage of proximate, or access, concentration. At this point, the 5 mental hindrances are subdued. To be fulfilled of purity of mind, meditators who practice insight meditation should at least strive to reach this level. The 5 mental hindrances hinder the way to achievement of mental absorption, jhana, insight, knowledge, and enlightenment. So we fight with these 5 mental hindrances. If any one of them comes to disturb our meditation, we cannot gain concentration or insight knowledge, we cannot gain jhana, and we cannot gain enlightenment. These 5 mental hindrances include sensual desire, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and remorse, and doubt. When you practice meditation, these 5 mental hindrances come again and again. Sometimes there's sensual desire. You long for a form, a sound, a smell, a taste, a touch, or you think about something that has already passed, or 151. The collected teachings of Luang Por Chaya, imagine the future. This is sensual desire. Or you're not satisfied about someone or something in the past, you're upset about this or that, or you get angry with someone, and these emotions arise. This is ill will. Or with sloth and torpor, you feel sleepy and want to give up your practice. You think that maybe if you finish your meditation, this sleepiness will go away. This kind of thinking comes and disturbs us, so we have to fight these mental hindrances. And next, there's restlessness. Your mind wanders. You're not able to focus on the main object. You're thinking about this or that. And remorse, where you think about the past and wonder why you did this or that, feeling sorry about doing something wrong. Lastly, you'll have doubt, especially about your meditation technique. We have to be aware of these 5 mental hindrances all the time and not let any of them overtake us. Now I'd like to talk about differentiation of mind and matter to reach the first insight knowledge. As you regularly practice mindfulness meditation every day, you will come to differentiate mind and matter. For instance, when you observe the rising and falling of your abdomen, you make a mental note of rising and falling. You will come to realize that the rising and falling movement of the abdomen is matter, which is the air element. This is one kind of material property among 28. The noting of the rising and falling movement is mind. So there is just mind and matter existing during the noting of rising and falling. Mind here means both consciousness and the mental states associated with it, because consciousness does not arise by itself. It is associated with mental states all the time. Whenever you say or hear the word mind, it should be understood that it means consciousness and mental states. And mental states cannot arise by themselves as mind. They arise together and disappear together. We just use the word mind. So in every moment of noting, it's just mind and matter. No person, no man, no woman, no I, and no living entity is existing. When you see something, you make a mental note as seeing, seeing, seeing. The thing you see is form, it's matter. The noting of it is mind. See? In the same way, when you hear something, you note it. Hearing, hearing, hearing. The thing you hear is sound, which is one kind of matter. The noting of it is mind. When you smell something, you note it as smelling, smelling, smelling. In this case, smell is one kind of material thing, which is matter. The noting mind is mind, not a person. When you taste something, you make a mental note as tasting, tasting. Taste, or edible things, or drinks, are matter. You drink juice or water, for instance. 152. Just practice. What is water? It's the water element. So whatever you eat or drink is matter. The noting of it is mind. Similarly, when you touch something, you note that as touching, touching, touching. The thing you touch is a tangible object. It is matter. The noting of it is mind. Again, only mind and matter exist in any moment of noting. We should know this. There's only mind and matter. In the case of knowing feeling or sensations in the body, you make a mental note, pain or numb or hot or cold and so on, as the case may be. In this regard, pain, numbness, hot, cold, and so on is Vedana or sensation, which is a mental state. Please remember that most people feel pain or numbness and they think it's the body. It's not, really. It's Vedana, or one kind of mental state, and the noting of it is mind. Therefore, the object being noted is mentality, and the noting is mentality. So both are mentality, the object and the noting mind. They are not a person, a man, a woman, or a being. So when you have good concentration, you try to be aware of the object, keep continuous mindfulness, and you will understand very clearly that it's just mind and matter. Just mind and matter, except that mind and matter is not a person. In reality, there's no man and no woman. Regarding mental or emotional states, when you think about something and get angry, you note it as angry, angry, angry. When you feel happy, you note it as happy, happy, happy. When you feel sleepy, you contemplate that. Sleepy, sleepy, sleepy. These objects, angry, happy, sleepy, and so forth, are mental states. The noting of those objects is mind. So both objects and mind are mentality. When your mind is going out, you note it. Going out, going out, going out. When your mind wanders, you note is as wandering, wandering, wandering. When you plan to do something, you note it as planning, planning, planning. When you imagine something, you make a mental note. Imagining, imagining, imagining. So going out, wandering, planning, and imagining, and also what you see and hear in your mind, are just mental objects. Sometimes we can see things in our mind, right? Not by eye, but mentally. When you see or hear something in your mind, these are just mental objects. The noting of these is mind. There's no person that's existing. So whenever you see, hear, smell, taste, touch, or think, it's all just mind and matter, mind and matter. When you go from standing to sitting down, you contemplate, sitting down, sitting down, sitting down, slowly. When you stand up from sitting, you contemplate, standing up, standing up, standing up, slowly. The movement of sitting down and standing up are the Air 153, the collected teachings of Luang Por Chaya element. It is just the air element, which is matter. Contemplating on those movements is mind. So just matter and mind, nothing else. See, there's nothing else. When you are sitting while practicing meditation, you may note sitting, sitting, sitting. When you're standing before you start to walk, you note standing, standing. When you walk, you note it as walking, walking, walking. When you're lying down, you make a mental note, lying, lying, lying. When you move, you note moving, moving, moving. When you bend, you note bending, bending, bending. When you stretch your hands or legs, you note stretching, stretching, stretching. Slowly, step by step. This sitting, standing, walking, lying, moving, and stretching are matter. The noting of those is mind. Just mind and matter. The intention to walk, intending, 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 is mind. The act of walking is matter. Just mind and matter. From the time you get up in the morning until you fall asleep in the evening, you make mental notes. There's only mind and matter. With every moment of noting, you will come to know that only mind and matter are existing. In fact, there's no person, no man, no woman, no self, no ego. The object noted is one, and the noting mind is another. You will see this. You will very clearly, differentiate mind and matter in your mind. General people who don't practice insight vipassana meditation are still holding the wrong view or belief that mind and matter are I or self, a person, an ego, a man, a woman, a living entity. They think that I see, right? They think that the seeing is I. There is no I. The seeing is I consciousness, which is mentality. As you gain the knowledge of discerning mind and matter, you'll be able to remove the wrong view of personality, which is the cause of attachment. Accordingly, meditators should observe objects of reality, not concepts. This means that your objects of meditation should be realities. For example, when you focus your mind on the rising and falling of the abdomen, you are not supposed to see the shape of the abdomen. Instead, you should focus on the bodily sensation of movement. Sensation is movement. And also, when you practice walking meditation, try to perceive the movement without seeing the shape of the foot. Try to perceive the movement and the lightness or heaviness. When you raise your legs, you'll feel lightness, and when you drop your legs, you will feel heaviness. Try to observe the lightness and heaviness of your foot. In the same way, when you sit, stand, or lie down, try to perceive the supporting of your bodily position, as well as the lightness and heaviness of the body. You should not focus on the form of the body. If you see the form, it's just 154. Just practice a concept. The meditation then becomes samatha, or tranquility, meditation, and not vipassana meditation. With vipassana meditation, your object should be a reality. If you still see the form or shape, it's a concept. This means that your meditation is still samatha. It hasn't reached insight vipassana meditation yet. Meditators who practice insight meditation should always have realities as their meditational object, not concepts. When a concept appears to your view, realities will lie hidden. But when realities reveal themselves, a concept will disappear. The difference between tranquility and insight meditation is that with tranquility meditation, you keep your awareness on just one object, right? And you ignore everything else. On the contrary, with insight meditation, you should keep your awareness on a variety of objects that come to you in the present moment. Note them in the present moment while they occur, but not before or after. It should be in the present moment. Your focus should be on realities. You can make inquiry of yourself as to what kind of meditation you are practicing and what your purpose is. Is it to gain jhana, absorption, or is it to gain enlightenment? You know your own purpose. Your goal, your aim, your purpose, and your practice must be in accord. If you say you want to gain enlightenment and you want to practice insight vipassana meditation, but your object remains a concept, you cannot achieve your goal. If your goal is a tranquil state of mind and you want to practice samatha meditation, you can attain the absorptions or the jhanas. We have rupa jhana and arupa jhana, and so step by step we can live with happiness because we gained jhana. If we attain these jhanas, we will be happy and peaceful in this present life and will be reborn in the plane of Brahma after we die. Those who gain the first jhana will have to be reborn in the first jhana plane after they die. But, as you are not free from mental defilements, you may commit demeritorious deeds on many occasions, and because you are still a worldling, you may become a victim of your own evil actions and eventually be reborn in the lower states of miserable existence. You can become a hell being, an animal, or a ghost. Vipassana, on the other hand, is right understanding of the three characteristics of mind and matter. The purpose of insight meditation is to realize these characteristics, which are impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and uncontrollability. By realizing these three characteristics, we can exterminate every mental defilement, such as lust, greed, craving, hatred, ill will, jealousy, conceit, sloth, torpor, sorrow, worry, and restlessness. As 155, the collected teachings of Luang Por Chaya, long as we have any of these mental defilements, we are sure to experience many kinds of suffering. Mental defilements are the cause of suffering. When they have been destroyed, all kinds of suffering cease to exist. then you will experience the cessation of suffering. And that's why we practice insight vipassana meditation. To be able to remove the concept of being, we need to contemplate the nature of the four great elements, which are earth, water, fire, and air. We should contemplate their nature. We should see them separately in our body. By this I mean that we should see our body as only four kinds of elements. When you realize their nature, there's no wrong view and there is no attachment. If there's no attachment, there's no suffering. The earth element doesn't mean the earth, but something that is inherent in the earth, hardness and softness. The water element means its characteristics. The fire element means the quality of fire. The air element refers to its characteristics. We should understand that it's not really earth or air, and so on. A meditator can experience the characteristics, function, or manifestation of the great elements. The characteristics of any one of those elements may appear when you practice meditation, or sometimes it's their function or manifestation. One of those will be experienced. The characteristic of the earth element is hardness and softness. Its function is to act as a foundation. It manifests itself as receiving or accepting something from the other elements. The characteristic of the water element is cohesion or fluidity. Its function is intensity. It intensifies everything that comes into contact with it. Its manifestation is holding things together. Our body, this form, is 75% water, so this water element holds things together. The characteristic of the fire element is heat or cold. Its function is to mature things. The manifestation is to continue a supply of softness when you cook something. As long as you cook, it becomes soft. This is because of the fire element. The characteristic of the air element is expansion or contraction. The rising and falling of the abdomen is the air element. When you see the form, it's a concept. Even if you say you're practicing vipassana meditation, if you just see the form, it's a concept. It's samatha. Instead, you should see the air element, the expansion and contraction. When you contemplate your nostrils breathing in and breathing out, it's not right if you see the form of your nose. Instead, you should see the air 156 just practice element. The air element's function is to cause motion. Its manifestation is conveyed when you walk. The characteristic of mind is knowing an object. Its function is to act as chief. Continuous processing is its manifestation. It just keeps going on, and going on, and going on. The characteristic of matter is to change by heat, cold, and so on. Our body has different kinds of matter. Scattering is its function. Sometimes we can feel that. We can feel scattering of material, and not cognizing the object is its manifestation. When you practice meditation, you can see the characteristics, function, and manifestation of the four great elements or the mind. For example, when you are walking, especially when practicing walking meditation, you can observe these four elements. With the upward movement as you lift your leg, the lightness in the foot is manifested. You can contemplate the lifting, the upward movement, manifested as this lightness in the foot. The lightness is caused by the fire element. When you raise and push your foot forward, this movement is caused by the air element. When you put your foot down, it becomes heavy. This indicates the pressure of the water element, and when your foot touches the ground, you feel hardness or softness, which is the earth element. So during one step, you may contemplate the lifting, pushing, and dropping, and distinguish these four elements, which is materiality. The noting mind is mentality. Just matter, and mind is existing with every step. In meditation retreats, you practice walking meditation for an hour or two, and if you keep at it every day, you will experience what I'm talking about. Sometimes you may see their characteristics, sometimes their function, sometimes their manifestation, and sometimes it's the air element, sometimes it's the water element, and so on. A student interrupts with a question. Q. The difference between the function and the characteristic. Can you give me an example for earth? I'm trying to understand it. The characteristic of the earth element is hardness and softness. The function is to act as a foundation. If there's no earth, there'll be no water element, fire element, or air element. 157. the collected teachings of Luangpur Chaya. This knowledge of defining mind and matter belongs to purification of view. What I've been talking about is for the purpose of gaining the knowledge of defining mind and matter, to be able to differentiate mind and matter, and to be able to remove the concept of a being, a person. Otherwise, you'll just see it as a person, and then you'll attach to it. And if you attach, you'll suffer. This wrong view of personality is the cause of attachment. When there is no attachment, there is no suffering. Then you will get real happiness in your life. May all of you be able to practice meditation and discern the characteristics of mind and matter. May you be happy forever. Any questions? Q. So you went through the first 3? Yes. We talked about purification of morality, purification of mind, and for insight knowledge we talked about discerning mind and matter. Q. Can you talk a bit more about jhana as it relates to this? Jhana is when you observe one object to gain strong concentration. But a person who only practices this way doesn't realize the nature of mind and matter, their characteristics, and they don't see impermanence. Because they don't understand mind and body, they have wrong view. And then they attach to it, and attachment is the cause of suffering. Q. So it's important to know the difference between tranquility meditation and vipassana meditation, right? Yes, we should know the difference. Some people practice meditation for many years and think they are practicing vipassana, but in reality they are practicing samatha. Some say, oh, I don't want to be reborn again, but they don't practice vipassana meditation. We need to practice vipassana. When you practice vipassana, you will know that it's just mind and matter. You will know that we talk about a man, or a woman, or I, or you, as a matter of convention, but that it's not reality. When you realize this, you're not attached to anything. Knowing is vijja, panya, or wisdom. When wisdom arises, there's no attachment, no lobha, and no craving. This is very important. You attach to something because you don't know it. If you know, you're not attached. 158. Just practice Q. If people really knew about the 4 great elements, it would be very useful in science. I wonder if scientists know about that. They do, but they only know the outside world. They don't know through practice. Q. Am I right in understanding that you can only observe mind? No, when you see, you just see mind and matter. And sometimes you know the characteristics of mind and matter. This is for the first insight knowledge. Later on, you just see impermanence. We go step by step. For now, we're just talking about discerning mind and matter. We're just talking about this level. When you practice walking meditation, you will know the movement of your body, your legs. It's just matter, and the noting mind is mind. There is just mind and matter. Sometimes you'll see their characteristics. The moving is the air element, and there's the lightness and heaviness. You see these characteristics. After you pass this knowledge, you will reach the higher knowledges. Q. There are so many different consciousnesses arising that it's so hard to know them all. It's too fast, right? It's so fast. You cannot contemplate every type of consciousness because it's so fast. Q. So you just concentrate on the ones that have a more dominant presence? For meditation, just remember to fix your mind on the object, your body, your feelings or sensations, or your mind. Then, no unwholesome consciousness, no mental hindrances, and no mental defilements arise in your mind. This is enough for you. Just keep going. You'll know for yourself, oh, my mind isn't going out now. The mind is very fast. Q. So we can concentrate on a bunch of different types of consciousness? Just think about the 4 foundations of mindfulness. For example, contemplate your body, or sensations, or vibrations, or rising and falling, or breathing in and breathing out. Just focus on that. Your body is in 159, the collected teachings of Luangpur Chaya object, so you contemplate matter. As you do that, wholesome consciousness arises. You make a mental note. Later on, you may think about the past and get angry about something. As you do, unwholesome consciousness arises. So first your object is the body, but later it becomes something else. When you observe your body or sensations, your feelings, your mind, or your mental objects. Wholesome consciousness arises in every moment. But if you think about something else and attach to it, or perhaps feel unhappy, then unwholesome consciousness arises. Sometimes, for example, you think about your mind. Oh, I have compassion. I am a good person. I want to help people. Think about your mind. In that moment, the object is your mind, right? The noting mind is just mind. Wholesome consciousness and unwholesome consciousness cannot arise together. After one moment of consciousness arises and disappears, another will replace it. This is the nature of our mind. 160.